Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to implement the live view for the sensor, but it will also include historical view. But there won't be any export of data, so it doesn't really satiate the historical data thing there or whatever. But regardless, it's still have all that stuff in it. So to accomplish this, I'm going to view the GUI as a state machine. And in terms of it being a state machine, the first thing we will have to do is we'll log in to the researcher portal, which we got. That's already set up. Then we will have to be presented with an option to select a sensor. Upon selecting a sensor, we should be instantiating a sensor view. Inside of the sensor view, that we should have a live value that's being updated at a reasonable pace. And also, we should have a graph. If there's time, I'm going to have the graph support integral as well as live updates if there's time. But I can't see why there wouldn't be. Some caveats would be that I'm not actually going to go and retrieve the data because I don't think all that's implemented, seeing how I just changed it. That's what I was saying at the meeting. I was saying, well, we're kind of doing it backwards because we're implementing the stuff before refactoring. So, but that's fine. What I will do though is I'll set it up as though the data is going to be sent, as though these as though it was already refactored. So it'll just go to a certain point and then basically be dead code. You know what I mean? We'll go to a certain point, and then when the refactor happens, we'll have to meet back at that same point. So, okay. Okay, so I guess first things first, I'm going to run the software, see what stuff's there, see what needs to be maybe removed or cleared out so that there's nothing in our way here. And I need to put it on test mode here in a second. Just one moment. Oop, there we go. Test mode. This is so that it doesn't attempt to reach the the server, right? Because I don't have it running. So right here, test mode. I'm going to turn that on. Okay. I'm going to press play. This way we don't get a bunch of errors about the server not being present or existing. Okay, game. Come on, you. I fixed this. I know I did. Okay. Yeah, we might be fixing some other things too along the way. So I'm going to go right here. Docked menu. Dock menu controller. Where's the hover controller? Hover controller's right here. Yeah, I don't know. Must be coming in out of focus, so I did fix that. Okay, good enough. Researcher, log into the research scene. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we have all these buttons here that we're gonna have to remove, and we'll see where they're at right now. They're in the example buttons. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's all we got there. I'm gonna click on one, and what has instantiated when I've done that? Window container. Elements? Yeah. Oh, we got two of them. It's probably not for the best. Check the scene out. Yeah, we got two. That's okay. Stop that. Okay, so we have something here called elements. Sending message cannot. Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll start off with we'll do it from the middle. We'll start off with the sensor view. So first things first, pardon me, I'm going to copy this prefab, Control D for duplicate. Doesn't really like Control C and V. I mean, you can do it, it just doesn't like it. Then I'm going to move it somewheres outside of the framework into the prefabs package. Our folder here, prefabs. Okay, prefabs default. Okay, and what's this? Window factory tester. Yeah, none of these. Okay. Example window actions, except window script. Looks like I may have already done this. That's fine. Okay, so now I'm gonna go, and we're gonna go with folder here. Call it, well, it's for the sensor, right? So we're gonna call it sensor view. Yeah, sensor view. Put my default window into there, and I'll actually grab your elements too, because I'm gonna want those. Okay. Actually, we'll worry about the GUI afterwards. I'm actually probably won't use these right now. Put them back out of there. Boop. Okay. So, default window controller, you can see that here. I'm just going to edit this script just to take a look at what it is. And it's nothing. It's just an empty script that implements iWindow. Okay, sounds good. So, we're going to replace it. So, this is going to be the sensor window. Whoop-doo. Oh. No, the wrong button. Okay. New, create new C script. We're going to call it sensor window controller. Sensor window controller. This is going to be the thing that we communicate with when we create the prefab to get it the information that it needs for the sensor that it's going to go and retrieve. Okay, so default window controller. I'm going to actually open this up here. We're going to remove this and put this on here. Ooh. Sensor window, edit script. Get rid of these methods. We're not using them right now. We may use them later, but we're not using them right now. Implement iWindow, which means we have to be using framework. Okay. Come back. Yeah, we can see we got test window there, which just executes the show command. So we're going to remove the default, leave the sensor. Here it is. Okay. Now I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to adjust the size of this right now because we already know that it's going to fill up most of the screen. So save. So this pink area here is the screen area that shuts off when it starts. It's just there for reference. I'm going to go right here into the canvas window container. Since this, or a version of this, is where this is going to be instantiated. It's actually going to be instantiated into a different scene, but still. We can do our construction in there. Whew. So there's the default window, and I think we're going to want it a little bit larger, but we don't want it to cover this. We don't want this to be in the way, so we're going to go boop, just make this like this. I think that's probably a good enough size to show everything we want. Okay. I'm now going to unpack this. Unpack. Just makes it easier to work with. Okay. And then I'm going to end up deleting it afterwards anyway, so anyway. Okay, so this is going to be the sensor window. Sensor view window prefab. Actually, I don't think we need view and window, just sensor window prefab. Okay. Let's get a hold of that. There we go. The close button, put that back in the corner where it belongs. Actually, we'll do this first, title bar. Back to the size, it should be probably that big because we're going to want to put text in there. And close button. Just want to line that up properly. Okay. And That X looks like we might want it a little bigger. Looks good to me. Yeah, it's good enough now. Okay, so there's our sensor view window. We're going to want, I guess, a graph here. And actually, you know what? Let's go a different route with this. Right? Because they want the graph to be quite large, right? So really, I think the sensor view could be quite a bit smaller. I'm going to actually undo all that stuff I just did. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to do this slightly differently. Unpack. Unpack. Okay, close window, sounds good. Total bar sounds good. Okay, so we're gonna make something called elements. Elements. Just doing that so that we can see. It's more of a naming convention. These are the elements of the window. Okay. And we're going to want to see the graph as well as live data. So we'll start off with the things for that. So I guess it'll be a button. Create UI text mesh button. There we go. Graph. Show graph. Show graph. Okay. Show graph. Sounds good. Oop. That doesn't matter. Right there. Who cares? Okay, so there's those things. There's the show graph button. Well, actually, that's probably the only button we're gonna have. So, okay. Now, I think there's a bunch of metadata, right? So, what do we have for metadata? There's state. So state/status. That's what that is. Status. Location, description. What else is there? State, status, location, description. I don't know. Whatever. We'll start. Name, the most important fucking one. Name. Okay, and I think that's good enough for now. Can add more after. Okay. Now, I already know I'm going to need a field script, but that's we'll get into that afterwards. Okay, so there's show graph. We're not worried about that. We're just worried about the metadata. So here's create UI input field. Do we want input field? No, it won't be an input field. We'll do it with this button with actual text. Text Mesh Pro. There we go. Okay, so we're going to want the sensor name. Let's actually adjust the size of that right now. 25 looks good to me. little smaller than that. 20. There we go. Black. Put it nice and long. And make it a little shorter on the side. Okay, so elements, sensor name elements. So create empty sensor name elements. That's overkill. We'll just put it right inside this. So sensor name, and then inside of this we'll put, come on you, UI, text mesh pro, sensor name label. Sensor name label. Okay. Control D. That's better. Germ. Okay. That's pretty stupid to do it like that, but anyway, just move it afterwards. Sensor name. Okay. Okay. Create empty. Actually, I'll do it as parent. Create empty parent. Right? Yeah. So sensor field, sensor name field. There we go. Okay. That's good enough for now. I'm gonna get it out of there because let's decide on that later. Sensor name. Whatever. Who cares? Okay. I'm just gonna copy that because we're gonna use that same format over and over again. Okay. And I'm actually gonna pop up the virtual sensor right now so I can make sure I have all the metadata there. So we got name, location, description, yeah. Sample rate, state, type. That's right. So sensor name, sensor name, sensor location, I guess. Sensor location, field. Description. Okay, name, location, description, state. Type, state, and then sample rate. Okay, so yeah, we're actually going to want description at the end. Description's going to be at the end. Sensor name, sample rate. No. Type, state, location, description. There we go. So. Close enough. Okay, sounds good. So I'm actually just going to get rid of that. I'm changing that every time. Okay. Location. Description. I imagine some of these things are going to have to change, but for now, this is good enough. Make this bigger. And we're going to turn on word wrapping. It's already on. Overflow. No, we'll truncate on. Scroll rack. If it'll let it. And no, we'll just truncate. We'll put a scroll rec in there if we want to afterwards. Okay. Yeah, good enough. So. Run out of room. That's okay. Location. Update. Type. Okay. So I think that's good enough for the sensor view. We will close these up. We'll deal with them after. Now, in the title bar, we are going to add one text to it. And call this window sensor information. So that's to 20. And we will make it black. No, we won't. That's the same color we're using for everything else. We'll actually make it a little off from that. Just trying to think. What would I go with here? We'll worry about the colors later, but no, we'll go with white. Yes, we'll take this, the title bar, and make that darker. There we go. Wow, there it is. Okay, cut. So, okay, we'll worry about the buttons after, but first things first, we'll set up this controller. So, sensor controller. Actually, I can delete this. Boop, delete. Yes. Sense or parent view. Parent window. Whatever, just call it the sensor window. Okay. Now we can turn that into a prefab. And don't need to worry about that again. That's where that will go, and it'll just work like that. Sounds good. Good. Okay, now let's go into that sensor window controller again, which I have right here. I'm just going to type these things into it. You'll see in a second. I just want that up so I can have reference. Okay, so we're using TextMesh Pro, TMPRO. So we have public. Actually, is it public? No, we'll have a public virtual sensors. We'll have public. Here, I can do it like this, I guess. Okay, so public virtual sensor. What's this? Peak definition? Yeah, that's it. Virtual sensor data. Sensor data. I actually won't make that public. I'm going to make that private. But I will serialize it. No, I won't actually. So that's that. Okay. Virtual sensor data. Sounds good. Now we're going to have serialized fields. So serializing a field, I do this so that I can still have it as being private, but it will display in the inspector when you do this. So you can still assign to it and keep it private. So serialized field, private, text mesh pro, GUI. You gotta make sure you get the U GUI one, or it won't work. Text mesh pro is a 3D element. Okay, so I'm gonna call this name field. Who cares? Just call it name. What's the difference? Okay. No, you fucked it up. You were doing good, and you fucked up. Okay. Location, description, name, description, location, what else was there? Fuck. State. Type. Oh yes, it hides. That's fine. Putting these underscores here just to signify that these are private fields that shouldn't be accessed from outside of the script. I don't know which naming convention it is, but it is a naming convention. See, it's going to want me to do it right here. I can tell you. It's called the private member. Get it here. Oh, no, that's not what it's bitching about. Go away. I'm not making it read-only. Okay. So, we'll assign those. Sounds good. Okay, so we're going to make an initialize method for it. Actually, I think it's under show anyway. So if I go to peak definition, show should be virtual. Close virtual. Show is virtual. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to use show as the initialization just to keep it in the frame of the interface. So we don't have different commands for different windows. So show. This is going to be public override show. No. Yeah, close. Okay, we did it. Okay. So it's going to do our operations, and then base.show is going to call the show command from the parent iWindow class, which is actually going to turn the window on and show it. So. And I guess we're going to have to retrieve the... No, we won't have to retrieve anything, so this should not be asynchronous. So there's no need for a coroutine right now because we should already have... No, we would need the list. So I'm going to make it asynchronous just in case. Public, i.e. numerator, show window. Yeah, I'll just call it initialize. Initialize. Oh, yeah, no, I won't be able to do that. Just delete that, because I'm going to want some variables. What I want is this variable. Perfect. Oh, actually, you know how I can fix that? I can go... No, I can't, because we're going to have different stuff. So, initialize, and it's going to start coroutine. Initialize. Sensor view. Yeah. No, we'll rename that to just initialize coroutine. Okay. Okay, so we're going to just put a method here for retrieve that. So private no, you have the sensor data. It doesn't matter. We do not, this is silly. We do not need that. The asynchronous operation would have already taken place. Okay, so sensor data equals sensor data. And then we're going to go and we're going to say name dot text equals that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is its own thing. Okay. And we're going to force a mesh update on all of these. Name. Huh? That's a string. That wants a string. Oh. Force mesh update makes it update the text. When you should do it whenever you switch the text. Well, I do it as a just in case. I mean, sometimes you don't need to, like because it forces a fresh a mesh update all on its own anyway, based on its own states. But we wanted to do it at that moment for sure. So okay, there's that. Okay. Now we have 2 buttons, and we're going to want to be able to test it. So public void, yeah, they have to be void, on graph view button press. Public void on live view button press. So we're all set up. We just gotta implement these bad boys, and then, well, we don't actually have to. I'm gonna leave this, and I'm gonna actually have it throw and not implement it. Sorry, new method not implemented. What the hell's the name of this fucking? It's not implemented is what it's called. Fucking Jesus Christ. Let's see what you have to say with this. Okay. In Unity, what is the exception name? Exceptions. The exception that is don't know. Method not implemented. Yeah, not implemented exception. That's what I thought. Alright. Actually, what else will do with debug? It doesn't matter, it's going to get fixed. Just leave it. Okay, so here's our sensor view. Basically there. The child nodes, the child views of it are not, but that's okay. Which is where the idea of looking at it as a tree or a state machine comes from. It's the fact that it'll have parents and children. So yeah, that's that. So I'm gonna override the test function so that we can test it, see it in all of its glory. Test. No, it's not going to do child, so we go virtual sensor data equals no new. Yeah, I mean we'll change those things. That's it. Okay. Name equals test sensor. No, yeah, that's right. Description equals, this is a test sensor for testing during any tests that you might test while testing the test for a test. Test words words. Okay, and we will double that up. Okay, location. Place not far from here, but where's near over there. Okay. State. California. Okay. go. Initialize sensor data. Okay. Here's a first step. Now we just got to link everything together. Oh, should I go? Okay. So the name field right here, description field right here, location field right here, state field right here, sensor type field right here. Okay, save my changes, back. Okay, and we're gonna test it. Who's with me here? Just you, eh, Lovey? Still with me?
Yep.
You have any questions?
None so far.
Okay. Oh, Lixon. Front end. Who's there? Get over here. You put 7 fucking tests in one sentence. That's you. Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. Okay. Okay. Boom. Start her up. Gonna drop it into the window container. Boop. And then we're gonna test the window. Look at that, it worked. Haha. I do see one thing. There's not quite enough room. So we can either make it bigger or make the text smaller. I would say let's make the text smaller. I like how big that is. Okay, so just stop that. Go into our prefab. And we're going to select all of these things. Okay. And we'll make that 16. Okay. And now we got to readjust everything. Okay. So sensor this, bring it back to here. Sample rate, bring it back to here. Sensor type, bring it back to here. Sensor state, bring it back to here. Sensor location, which was the one we did not fit. And then sensor description, which is taking up a whole bunch of room. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to do the same thing again and make this slightly smaller. Well, it doesn't matter how much smaller. I'm going to auto size it anyway. The minimum is going to be 16 and the maximum is going to be 20. Hello?
No.
Hi. Oh, you made it. We are just well, we already made the first window here. I'm actually implementing it, but it's all recorded. I have the OBS running, so I'll upload whatever. You can see whatever you missed if you need to reference it.
Okay.
Yeah, and right now we just ran a test and we saw that there wasn't enough room. Didn't leave enough room for the test stuff. So I'm just going to make it have enough room, and I'm going to. What I'm doing right now is I'm making this text auto size, minimum of 16, maximum of 20. So you're seeing it at 20 right now, but it'll shrink. More stuff that fits in there, the more it'll shrink. And I have word wrap turned on. And I'm going to do the same thing for the sensor location here in a moment. So first,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring that.
We're just refactoring the previous code, right? Is that like a different?
I'm sorry. What? No, I'm not touching any of the previous code. I'm refactoring the system. I'm not using any like. I'm not. No, we're not refactoring code.
Oh,
That's tomorrow. Tomorrow we're refactoring the communication, like refactoring stuff to deal with the change in the communications. Right? I'll be writing lots of code, but I'm not. I'm not like changing things. Not to my knowledge, anyway. I mean, if there's something in particular that I can take, I will. But I'm not. No, not particularly. Right now, I'm building the things we need to instantiate stuff. Right? These can be the graphic standard on these can be changed after the fact.
yeah.
So are you with us? You got any
Yeah.
more questions there?
Uh, I think I need to look at the video that you post later, so
Yeah, well, I mean, all I did was make a prefab thus far. It was actually kind of maybe the most important part, but I'll be doing it again, so don't worry about it, because both of these buttons are also going to have to open windows, so I'll be making more windows. So it's
Okay.
no, yeah, so you should be all right.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so central location. Just take it to here, take it to here, to here. Yeah, actually, I think both of these might be better suited to be like this. Yeah, they would be. Ugh. Not this one, though. This one wouldn't be. It'll look better, though. Anyway, whatever. We'll put it there and we'll test it. Okay. Okay. Put this on auto size. The smallest being 16. Actually, no. The smallest being like 11. And the biggest being 20. And this one's smallest being 11 as well. Okay, so we've adjusted those things so everything should fit now, and we'll test it again. So I'm going to save. Go back. Press play. Rather than going into the researcher scene, this one also has a window container, so I'm just going to use that window container. We're going to drop that in there. Boop. And we'll run the test the window. There it is. A place not far from here, but nowhere near over there. Yep, there it is. All worked. Plus the window's there, and I can always exit it. Okay, so that's that. We got that one done. And rather than get into the children of that, because they can be done after, I'm actually going to go to the parent of that now that we have it. And which means we need to jump over into the researcher scene. Well, not yet, not really. I'm actually just going to make our list. So sensor view, create another window here. Just going to duplicate the one I already have. We're going to call this the sensor list. Yeah, good enough. Okay, sensor list controller, sensor list controller. And this is actually going to be a different window. We're still going to construct a window that's going to instantiate using the window container factory. However, it's not going to implement iWindow because for this element, we don't want the exit button and we don't want the drag bar. We don't want those things, so we're not going to implement the iWindow because that's what that handles. And it doesn't have to be context sensitive or any of those things. In fact, it should stay in the background. So it's going to be a sort of a variant of the window, but it's still going to use the window factory. Okay, so the sensor list, let's just go into that. Bam, here it is. We're not going to need that. remove component. We are going to need this. And I think, good. I don't think we'll need any of the fields or the buttons. Yeah, we'll use the buttons, okay. Except this one's going to not be a show graph button. This is going to be an open sensor button. Open sensor button. It's already in a thing called buttons. It doesn't need a called button. Okay. Actually, no, we're not. It's going to have buttons itself. We're good. Okay. So for the elements, we're going to have a scroll list. The exact same. I'm going to use the exact same one that I used for the test window. So we also don't want the title bar or the close button, neither of those things. So here's our background. Yeah, I think that's much too large. So let's just make it smaller. Let's say, just judging by the screen size, have something like this somewheres. Plus they can have what other information they want, and we can always make it, change it after the fact. So we'll just go with this size right now. That should be fine. Yeah, okay. Let's get your sensor list on there, blah, 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 blah. Sounds good. Okay, save. I'm gonna go hunt down that other prefab. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna link these buttons, because I forgot to do that. So on click. On live view button press. On click. On graph view button press. Okay. Now I don't need to worry about that. I shouldn't even have to open it again. I can just go implement those methods because they're already linked. Save. Okay. Can I close this? Okay. Now, I'm just going to search for that test window, I think. No, not test window. Test window example, no. Testing window, that's it. Here we go. And I want this. Received container. Where's the scroll view? Right here, right? Yeah, I'm just going to steal the scroll view. Go away. And we're just going to drop it into there. And unpack that, because I'm going to make changes. There we go. So I have that element there and everything underneath it right here. And I'm going to actually do that. There we go. Save changes. Yes, yeah, whatever. Okay. I'm going to do that on this too, so it's not a mess when you open it. Okay, now sensor list, elements, boop, boop, boop. And we want this container. Here we go. And there. And background, we'll make it darker. Oh, I see. I can't line it up like that or like that. Sounds good. Okay. I'm going to unpack this because I don't want my changes to cascade to anywhere else that I use it. And so what we have here is a scroll rectangle. It's it's set up so that anything I put into it, it'll automatically size to the size of the scroll rectangle, and it will instantiate those items into the content bucket right here. So for entry, I'm actually going to build it right in the content bucket, so I don't need to worry about it missizing itself or appearing in some bizarre way that I did not foresee. So I'll start off with a panel, because that allows me to see the dimensions visually. Boop, there's our panel, and it does not like the size of that panel. How about that? Okay. Height, 30. You're gonna keep that? You're gonna keep that for me? Okay. Sounds good. Now, Control D. There we go. Perfect. So it's working. Oop. Delete. I'm actually going to do this and double check that it's working before I move forward. Oop. Yep. Yep, it's working. Oop. Oh, well, shit. There we go. Unpack. Delete the one I made there because we don't actually want it for anything. Okay, and we're going to call this sensor entry, sensor list entry. Okay, and I'm going to give it a outline. Why not? Nice. Okay, we're going to go -5. There we go. -5. No, that's not. I see. It doesn't care. Okay. So 1, 1, 2, 2. That's good. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Change the color so that there's no transparency, and yeah, whatever, gray's fine. Okay, so there that is. Inside of it, we're going to put a button because we don't want to have to select it and then say open. We just want to click on it and it open when you click on it. So we'll make it a button rather than a selectable. But I mean, buttons can be selectable as well. So, all right, button. Okay. Select button. Selection button? Select button, yeah. Select button. And I want this color. Oh, where's that? Huh. Interesting. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's fine. The way it is. Okay. Let's change the name to just say loading. I just do this just in case something happens where it's shown before it's got its name, so it'll say loading, and then when it gets its data that it needs, it won't say loading anymore. Well, we're going to auto size this as well because we do not want this to fit outside of this. The minimum size we'll set to 11 like I did with the other one, but the maximum size to 20. Okay, sensor list entry. Okay, and it works. So I think we can not worry about this anymore. Bring it into the prefab. Yeah, we can do that. Bring it as prefab. Delete it. Test it again. I'm just Get that word list out of there. Sensor entry, content, Control D. Oh, something's wrong. What just happened? That should be changing its size. Oh, no, I'm just because I'm actually. No, it should have been changing its size. Whatever. I'll actually wait until it's playing to think that it's broken. Okay. Yep, sounds good. Save. Sensor list, controller. Sounds good. And sensor entry. And we're going to need a sensor entry controller. Okay. I don't think outline's even going to show with that button there. Anyway, sensor entry controller. Oop. Okay. So I'm going to edit that script now. We don't need either of these. And we're going to have an initialize method, just like we did with the other one there. Just a standard name I use for the name of the method for initializing the object. There's no necessity for it to be that. It could be, I don't know, but it could be even initialized. Wait, that's what it is. Okay, so public, because it's going to be called from somewhere else, right? So public void initialize. Oh, fuck. Okay. Need that. It has TextMesh Pro, private text mesh. Is it gonna let me? Yeah. Perfect. Label, or it's called name, I guess. Name. And also we're going to have a private virtual sensor object or data. Virtual sensor data object. Okay. Put an underscore under these because they will not be accessed from outside. Okay, and this will have this as an initialization. And it will be this. Sensor data. I guess I don't need this. And I think that's it. No. And the name dot text is going to be sensor data dot name, and then name dot force mesh update. There we go. Save. So now when we instantiate this, we call this initialization command. It's going to display the names. Okay. Save. And there is a button. It is a button. So we're actually going to put an awake in here. This gets called as soon as it comes into existence. And we're going to get component in children because the button's not, there's only one, so I don't need to worry about it grabbing the wrong button. And it's in the children, not actually on this game object, so it's get component in children. It will recursively look through all the children to find the first game object or the first button object or any component, whatever you're asking for, and return that. But the important part there is that it's the first one. So if there's multiple, there's no guarantee you'll get the one you want. You're just going to get the one that it found. So there isn't multiple in this, so I can do this. No problem. Okay, so button. Oh, I need to be using Unity Engine.ui. Sometimes it'll try to, there it was. Sometimes it tries to do UI elements. Do not let it. Watch, I'll show you. .ui, right there. UI elements, that'll mess all your shit up. Don't import that. Okay. So this will have the button, right? So then now it's like button dot on click dot add listener, and then it's looking for a Unity action, right? Unity event or Unity action right here, which is just another word for a method. So we're gonna make this public, call it on entry click. So this is what's going to happen when the entry is clicked. On entry. Ah. Okay, rename, save, cut. There is one more thing we're going to need, and it's going to be a serialized field, so I'll just grab this here. And Leskin, I don't know if you, or Lexin, sorry, I don't think you were here for this, but when I put serialized field, what that's doing is making it so I can have a private variable and it will still show up here because normally it's only public vars that show up over here. So. Yes.
Is that the same thing you did last time? Serialize you.
The same what I did last time, sorry?
We did for serializable.
Here, I'm going to turn my speaker.
Serializable inside the back.
I think my speakers are kind of making your voice not sound that good. I just turned them down. Can you say it again? I'll see if I can hear you better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is that the thing you did last time?
Oh, I see what's going on. You're chopping in and out. You're like, I'm only getting half of your words. It was I couldn't tell because my speakers were too loud. But now that I can hear you well, you're chopping in and out is why I can't make you out. But is that the same thing I did for something? Is what I did gather, and I would say yes, more than likely, because this is what I always do. I basically do the same things the same way every time. So probably. Okay, so right here, I put a serialized field for a game object, which is going to be the sensor view prefab. That's going to allow this button to instantiate a window, right? So I am mindful that it's going to be in the researcher scene, right? So knowing that, I'm going to call the window manager from that scene, which is it's the same one for all the child scenes. Save. Where is it at? So this one's called login scene window container. So the other one's probably just called window container. Let's just start typing and see what happens. Yeah, it is. Window container dot load. Is it load window? What? Let's just take a peek. Peak definition. Peak definition. Yeah, it's load window. Oh, it's going to want instance, isn't it? Yeah, that wasn't a static method. Yeah, instance. There we go. Dot instance dot load window, and the window I want to load will be print sensor prefab window. That's going to return a game object that I'm actually going to want to access. So we're going to go with Game object GO equals, GO is just game object. It's just the initials. So I use that a lot. Game object GO. Game object go equals window container blah blah blah. So I'm going to get that window back, and then I'm going to go dot initialize. Oh no, it's go dot get component. Get component, and the component is virtual sensor something, sensor window controller. Sensor window controller. Once I have that, I'm going to initialize it, and I'm going to initialize it with the sensor data that is held in this object. In this way, I do not need to keep track of states at all, because they keep track of themselves, and they can branch off, and there can be many different branches to the tree. It doesn't matter, because they all are just linked back to their parent, so we don't need to keep track of it. Okay, so that's it. On entry clicked, we're going to instantiate the window. Then we're going to serialize the data, or initialize the window with the sensor data. Good, this is done. Right? It's going to have sensor data from being initialized itself. Very good. Okay, go back. Boop. Okay, so now we have the sensor entry, the sensor list, the sensor entry, and the sensor window. The sensor list does not have a test function as of yet, but we are going to give it one. So sensor list, sensor window. I'm going to grab, actually we'll set up the sensor list first because I didn't actually do the stuff for it. So we're going to have a public or private, I guess, a serialized private, serialized field, private transform container. This is for so it knows where to put the stuff when we're doing it. It's also going to have a serialized field that's going to be a game object, and that's going to be for the prefab, sensor entry, prefab. Okay, yep. And it's going to be initialized, obviously. So we're going to have a public void initialize. And for a parameter for that, we're going to have a virtual sensor data array called sensors. I don't think we need a list. No, we don't. We don't need a list. We're good. Okay. All right. Would we need to reload it? No. There's no reason to have this as a list. Okay. So initialize, you give it the sensors, it's going to load them up, right? So that's the initialization. And during this initialization, it's actually going to need another command, but this one can be private. So this one's going to be private void add entry to, or just add entry is fine. And the add entry is just going to take just the sensor data for one. Sensor data. And it's going to game object go equals instantiate. So this is how you, like, instead of new, when you're dealing with game objects, you don't use new. You use instantiate. And when you're dealing with mono behaviors, you don't use new either. You use instantiate, and you put the mono behavior you want to add as one of the parameters. We're not going to be doing that. I'm just letting you know that that's what you do. Okay, instantiate sensor object prefab. And we're going to want to tell it what container to put it in, right? So there's a bunch of overloads on this. There's 9 overloads. I mean, I don't know all of them, but I got a pretty good idea what they do. This is the one we want for this. What we're doing is we're saying we make one of these and we're going to make it in here. And I didn't tell it the location because we're putting into a scroll rectangle that is going to handle that for us. So we just do that. And then we want to go .get component. And that's going to be the entry controller. Was it entry or sensor entry controller? No, it's sensor entry controller. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's for my testing. Okay, sensor entry controller. Boop. Once it has that, we're going to call the initialization function on it. And it wants a sensor, right? From the command we just did. We just made that in the other script. So there's that. Add entry sensor. So, whoop, get it here, 21. Okay, so now for the initialization of the entire list, when it's given an array of sensors, all we're going to do is for each. Yeah, sure. Why not? So C# is both, like, it can be somewhat dynamically typed. It can have some issues with, compile time or even at runtime, but it can be. So you have a couple different uses for that. One's var, that's a dynamically typed variable, so it gets its class, like its type, at runtime, because it can change. And another one is, I think I've used it here, new, right here. That's dynamically typed. So I didn't put the type, so if that type changes, that's fine. It'll always sort of work, assuming that it has this. But anyway, I'm just explaining why I'm shorthanding these things. Okay. And I know that the sensor is this anyway. So does the IDE. It understands that. So, okay, so for each var sensor in sensors, we're going to go sensor. We're actually going to go add entry sensor. Add entry sensor. Okay. Boom. Okay, perfect. And we're going to make a test. So rather than put buttons in the inspector, which we can do, but why? We can, I just do this. This is just a pattern I use for testing things. It really doesn't have any use in a build because it relies on you having access to the inspector. But anyway, so what I'll do is I'll go into the update, which is called once a frame. And then I'm going to, I'll add a public bool, which is just Boolean in C#. Public bool, test. Save. Okay, and then we're going to say if. Yeah, it knew. If test. Shut it right off right away. Test equals false. And then we're going to execute a test. Private void test. Okay. And in that test, what we're going to do is we're going to build an array of sensors and send them to the initialization so that we can see it all working going down the line there. So sensors equals yeah, why not? So new, yeah, whatever. Okay. And where's my virtual sensor data thing that I was just using? Window controller? Yeah. Here's our virtual sensor example. Okay. I think actually it was, oh, anyway, I'll just paste it here for now. Yeah, I didn't think so. Doesn't need a name. Good. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this way of initializing objects or not, but essentially I'm just saying new, and then you do curly curly brackets, and it'll let you assign all of the individual fields. It's similar to like JS or Python, like for doing that. You know what I mean? So, okay.
Yeah.
So then comma, and we're just going to keep adding a few of these. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to change their names. Test sensor 1. Test sensor 2. Test sensor 3. That's not a 3. Test sensor 4. Test. That's not a 4 either, Justin. Okay. 5. And actually, I'm going to do more of these. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So, keeping in mind that now we have a dependency that this has to be in one of the portals, right? It can't be in the login scene anymore. We're going to have to do a little bit more on this test. So, which is fine, but... Oh, we should probably set the array somewheres. Okay. So once the array has been constructed, we would be here, would we? Something not right here. Ah, there we go. Okay. We're going to go to initialize, and we're going to give it that list, or that array. Save. Oh, fuck. I'm not doing this. This is absurdity. What am I doing? This is fucking stupid. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is this. I wasn't thinking straight. So now we're going to go, I'm going to actually put a number here as well. So public int test num increment, I guess. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it's called. I know what it's for. I'm the one testing it. Okay, so we're going to say for int I less than test num I plus plus sensors dot add there we go. Delete that, and we'll say plus I. There. So now it can just be as however many we wish. Okay, and there. I'm just going to cut and paste this for the formatting, and evidently it thinks that is the formatting, so I don't like that formatting, so it's not going to be the formatting. And that's it. Okay. Okay, so I believe we're ready to test. No, I got an error somewhere. Where is that? Yeah. I less than test num. Why not? Why can't it be? What am I missing here? Unsigned. Oh, equals 0. Okay. Perfect. Ready to test. Or just about. Okay. Boop. I'm going to go into the sensor window, sensor list. Sensor list. It wants a container. And it wants a prefab. Good. Test num. We'll go with 10. Just for the time being. Okay. Good. Save. Yes. Now let's see. Sensor entry. Yeah, it also wants something here. We have to give it the name and we have to give it the window. Save. Yes. Okay. So that should just work. I can rack my head against it and think of what I forgot, or I can just test it and it'll tell me what I forgot. Okay, so assets, scenes, researcher scene, save changes, yes. Okay, canvas, example buttons. Yeah, well, I will. Okay, well, I'll put this here just so I'm not just deleting it, but I'm going to delete it. And then I'll put it just here in the assets folder so it's easy to find. Oh, look at that sensor list. It already knows what it's looking for. I don't know where that is, though. Where's that text? Oh, that shouldn't be there. That gets shut off. Okay. Yeah, this gets shut off. That's what this right here does. Don't put stuff inside there. So title, sensor list. Why not? Boop, sensor list. There we go. And we're going to put the prefab in here. We can compartmentalize this even further and actually make it instantiated at runtime, but why? It's not like if this project was going to go on for years, sure, but it's not, so we're not. Okay, so prefabs, sensor view prefabs, and we want a sensor list. And we're just going to stick it on the canvas for the time being. Oop. Perfect. What are you doing? Yeah. 1, 1. Thank you. Whoop. Here's our sensor list. I'm actually going to put it over here, though. Who cares where I put it? Right there. That's good enough for me. We'll take this title. Call it label, actually. Sensor, just list, sensor list label. Sensor list label. Okay, we're going to make it black because you're not going to see that otherwise. What is this? TextMesh Pro? What? No, just 2028. Why is it blurry? Oh, fuck off. Undo that change. 0. Some of these things. Why is it blurry to me? Because it is blurry. I don't know what that. I don't know why it's done that. I'm just not going to use it. This has to be above the window container. Window container always has to be at the end. I don't know, it must be just the background. I must be going crazy because this one looks blurry too. So anyway, whatever.
It is blurry.
What?
It is blurry.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. It's something to do with this asset. I'm sure of it. Anyway, whatever. It's not the point of what I'm up to here. So we figured out later. Getting stuck on something like that. What?
I just got back from work.
Oh.
I finished at 3 o'clock and they held me till 5:30. Oh.
You don't happen to work at Montana's, do you?
No.
What? You didn't just say yeah, did you?
No, I said no.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like okay, well then you'll work with my little brother. No, I only say that because they do that shit all the time down there.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I don't know what. You know what? I can't worry about that. I don't know why it's doing it, and I'm just not gonna worry about it. Okay, so here's this. I think we're good. I think we're good to test. So I'm gonna save this scene.
What are you testing?
Sorry.
What are you testing?
Well, the sensor workflow. I have it right down to the. I'm testing all of these right now, so you'll see. You'll see.
Okay.
Just need to see if there's a controller here that's gonna throw an error on me. I don't think so. I think we're good. Scene manager. Let's see. No. General window factory. Yeah, that's that other thing that I did. So let's see. Is there anything it's going to do that it's going to want? New button press. No, it doesn't matter. Okay.
I think we already edited that script, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to remove it off. Just see.
Yeah.
It's just the one from the video that I did where
Yeah.
it does math operations. So just remove. Actually, I'm just going to delete the entire.
The problem is, yeah.
Okay, so before we do this, I'm actually going to fill up my vape here because I'm out of fluid. Pardon me. Okay. Oh, this is being recorded. I have OBS running. So this is all recorded, just FYI. Okay. So to test, we got to go back to the login seed because that's how we test, right? And just going to take a look at this login manager or the testing manager. Make sure it's on test mode because we don't want it to actually try to connect to anything because we don't have the server running.
Yeah.
And we're going to hit play. Okay, we got get out of here. I know I fixed this. I wonder what does it. Why it sometimes won't register that my mouse is there. Yeah, come on. What is in the way? Get out of here.
It might be better if we just left it to be on at all times.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right where it's doing this, but it shouldn't. That's like it should work. I use this pattern. Anyway, whatever. That's not what we're doing here. So there. I just clicked login. We have the researcher scene is open. You can see it right here. Bam. Yeah, underneath this one. Look, see, it's working now. It's like sometimes it just doesn't want to get those clicks. Anyway. And we're going to test this. So we put that test thingy on there. So I can just go to it right here. Sensor list. I'm just going to click test. Let's see if it works. Oh, look at that. It worked. There's our things. There's all our sensors, right? We can adjust the colors of this. In fact, I'm going to. And I can click on any one of them, and it's going to open up this. Now, we see another problem. It's instantiating everything at double its fucking size. I feel like I did that. I feel like that's something I did.
I think the scale is up.
No, it's double. See, it's set to 2.
Why?
That's what I'm saying. I think there's something in there I did that's making it get sent to 2. Oh, look at that. That's a problem. I see what's going on. It's being set to appear on top. Anyway, so I'm going to write those things down so we can address them. So what did we see for issues in our test? We saw that the text object that's being used for the sensor list is appearing on top. So list label always on top. It should not be on top. We'll have to address that. Okay, what else was there? Double scale. Double
Are you the one
scale.
who sets this window to be transparent?
Well, it is defaulted like that. We can change it.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you could change it.
Yeah, well, in fact, I'm going to put it on the list. So
Also, is it possible to make this pop up now? When you click on live value, what happens?
nothing. It's not done yet.
Okay.
It'll throw an error. Method not implemented error. Yeah, like it'll throw an exception. It's in the video. Like we went through and built all this right now. You'll see it here when I'm changing these things. So window transparency.
The pop-up that it's up now, is this, what do you call this? Is it a scene? Is it
This is a window.
it's a window?
We built this from the window example. It's all I did was change its size.
Okay, which means we can't
We can open multiple of them if we wish. One. All right. I can close them. All right. Get here. Close them. Close them. So I don't know what that's all about, but we'll change that. And so anyway, fact is it works. So we're going to leave there, and we have 3 bugs to look at right now, which is the list label is always on top. Things are coming in at double the scale consistently, and the window transparency. So first, I'm just going to check right quick. See the sensor window? There's our problem right there. 1, 1. Done. Okay. So there's our first one fixed, sensor window. The double scale's undone. And the other one was the sensor list label was appearing always on top. So rather than go in there and actually change that one that's there, I'm going to delete it because it's aggravating me. And we're just going to put a new one in right here. That's actually going to be in the prefab.
In the prefab, yeah. Because the other one is on the scene itself.
That's right, yes.
Yep.
Okay, call this sensor list.
React was trying to do something like this, except it just takes too long to design the prefabs.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've only been at it for 2 hours, and we're almost caught up. So, we almost have all of the first feature done. So, first 2 features, really. But anyway, okay, so there's that sensor list. We know it's not going to be white. We'll make that black. Where did I just put it? Right here. There we go. Elements, container, title, or label. List label. Okay, there's that should be fixed, that should be fixed, and the window transparency. Window background will no longer be transparent, but I don't want it to be that color then. I want it to be slightly darker. There we go. Okay, perfect. Let's go back, save that, go into our scene. And we will delete this. Okay. And that should just work. So, I'm just going to double Yeah. Oh, that's what was going on. So I didn't need to do all that. The problem was that it was sitting here. It just needed to be sitting here instead. But since we've done it, that's fine. I'm just going to delete this. This window container always has to be at the bottom, and like I forget constantly. So really, I should probably put a script on it that sets it to last sibling automatically, but I'm not. So we'll just remember to not do that. Okay, sensor list save. So now we'll test again. Okay. So the reason I have to keep going back to the login scene is because that's where the buttons are to take me to where I'm going, but also because of the build settings. It'll only load things from here. So anyway. Okay. Press play. Play. Log in. Sensor list. Let's go to the test guy here. Sensor list test. There it is. Sensor 0. Look at that. Boom. Here's that one. And let's say we want to put it over here. Well, we'll try this sensor. Oh, look, there's a couple of sensors. There's a bunch of sensors we all have open at the same time. It doesn't care. It's fine. We don't need to keep track of any of that. We're good. Close, 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 close. Great. Now to do those other two buttons that are there. Now that we have this tested, it works, the unit testing was passed, and we're good to go. So now we'll do it from this scene, I guess. That works. Yeah, this scene works. Okay. And we'll build it in this window container for the time being. And the first thing will be the live view. Okay. Start with a panel. Actually, no. We'll start with a prefab because this is going to be a window.
Which one are you doing now?
The live view.
But you're doing like the testing.
Sorry?
You're doing is it like testing, like a test live view?
No, it's not connecting to anything. I'm only dealing with the GUI elements at this juncture. We can add the stuff to them for them to retrieve their information after. That's fine. They all have the data they need in order to do that. So it's fine. Like that's I don't know. I said the words. That's all I have to say on the matter. We're just doing the GUI elements and the stuff. We're not actually retrieving anything, and we don't have to either because it's all downstream, right? So, like the retrieval would have already happened, right? And then we can subscribe to things. But anyway, separation of concerns, and I'm not concerned with the actual retrieval of information right now. I'm just concerned with the GUI. So, window container, and we're going to start with the sensor window. Prefab is fine, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. We'll call this the sensor live view. Sensor live view. I'm just going to drop it into this window container. Keeping in mind that this window container won't actually be instantiated into, but the one it will be instantiated into will be identical to it. Okay. We're going to unpack this. Okay. So, first, we're going to go into the title bar, change that title. It's not going to be sensor information. It's going to be live data. Live feed data. Feed, I guess. Live data. That's good enough. Live data. Okay. We're gonna get rid of the buttons because we don't have any of those, and we'll get rid of almost all the fields because we only actually need one field. No, 2 fields. We'll keep the name as well, and the sample rate. So three fields. Okay, and it's not going to have any buttons. Just the close button. So just delete that. We already have a close button. But we are going to alter the close button. Where's it at? Title bar, close button. We'll actually change the size of this first. Probably about that big is fine. But we'll do it this way. Whatever. Yeah, I think that's... Ooh. Okay, listen, you little shit. Get out of here. So what I just did was just took that out of there so that it stops resizing that element, because it was not doing it the way I wanted it to. So I think probably that big is fine, maybe a little wider. All right, there we go. Okay, and we'll take our elements, put them in there. Yeah, that's big enough. I'm just gonna put the thing in there. We'll be good. See all shitters. Whatever, none of that matters. It's not going to affect anything. Well, no, I'll do it anyway. Okay. There we go. Put that right there. Right there for now is fine. Elements. And I'll just leave that, that's fine. And we will grab our title bar back, put it back in the window where it belongs. Okay. Sensor name's fine, sensor sample rate fine, and then this one is not this. This is going to say sample. Sensor sample. Duplicate this, move it down. This one's going to be for the time. So it's sample time. There we go. Adjust this. We're also going to adjust this to stay within the window. Okay, and we'll put truncate, and we will auto size the text from the largest of 16 to the smallest of 6, I guess. 6 is real small. 11 is probably the smallest we should be going for any of that stuff. Okay, and this would be 18 is bigger than all the other ones, eh? What's this one at? 16, okay. So we'll call this highest of 16, lowest of 11, or 9, just in case. Okay. Same with the sensor name, and the no sample rate's fine, and sensor sample is fine. Actually, sensor sample, no, we'll just leave it like that. We don't need to copy and paste it for the time being. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so there's that, and that. And now the close button. I think that's fine, just put it right here. Why not? I can make it bigger, call it close at the bottom, I suppose. Yeah, that's... No, it's fine right there. It doesn't matter. We can refactor it later if we want to. You might notice it's locking when I do that. That's why I'm using this tool. It locks to these lines. Anyway. Okay. Live data, sensor name, blah, 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 blah. Okay, sounds good. Now. Nope. Move controller. And we're going to have a sensor C script. We're going to call this sensor sample view. Live sample view. All right. Live sample view. Okay. I can probably make this into a prefab now. What is this? Yeah, back. So that's the name I want. Delete that. Sensor live view, and it's already got the name. So we're good. Which means I can delete it from the scene. And we can just start dabbing it right here. Okay. Pardon me. Okay. So now for the scripting. So we know it's going to want a virtual sensor object, or virtual sensor data object, virtual sensor data, and that's probably good. And then serialized field, so that I can see it in the inspector. It's not going to be a list of anything, and it's going to be a TMP mesh. So add this TMP Pro. Yes. Okay. So private text mesh pro GUI. And this is going to be the name, sensor name, or whatever, just name's fine. That's the only fucking name in here. So name. Okay. And there was 3 of them, right? 4 of them. First one was name. Next one was sample rate. Next one was sample. And the last one was sample time. Sample time. These. Okay. And we're going to want to test it, so I'm going to go public bool test. And I'm actually going to, so I'm going to add a header here. This is for in the inspector. You'll see it in a moment. Header assign. Header. Testing. Save. And public. It doesn't matter. It's going to get it from the thing. Okay. We want this to be initialized. So public void initialize. Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. And when you initialize it, we're going to want sensor data. All right, because these, if you recall, we've been passing this sensor data object along this whole time, right? From the list to the entry, from the entry to the window, and now from the window to the live sample view. Okay. Okay. Good. It's going to give that to that, right? And then it's going to assign it name dot text equals sensor name dot force mesh update, and we're going to have sample rate. Fuck off. Sample rate dot text equals sensor data dot sample rate. Yeah, I know. It's not dot toString, and we only wanted it at 3 decimal places, I think. It should never need any decimal places actually, so we'll just do 2 decimal places. 0.00. That's a C# toString function for any float. You just type like this, and then it'll limit to that number of decimal places. Okay. Cool. What's the other one? Sample and sample time. So sample is actually not going to equal anything first. Dot text equals waiting and then sample time equals the same thing, waiting. Right? Sample time equals waiting. No, dot text. Okay. Okay, so that's what's going to happen when it first initializes, but also we want it to go and collect samples, right? So we're going to have a method here, which I'm not actually going to fully implement, but I will partially implement it. And it's going to be an enumerator. So private enumerator get sample, refresh sample. Okay. So, there's that event system in there, right? That I put for on message received, but we don't have pushed data anymore. So that subscription thing for when messages are received no longer makes any sense. What would make sense now is that we actually just call the command to go and retrieve the data. So that, again, I mentioned this in the meeting that we're kind of doing this backwards. That's going to get refactored in our thing tomorrow, right? So for the time being, I'm actually just going to go to like a dead method for that. But regardless, it's not. We might implement it after. Anyway, I'm just saying that this isn't actually going to do it, but it's going to have everything in place to do it. And I will hide all that by doing this. Private virtual sensor object retrieve newest sample. Right? So that way we can encapsulate it as such. So retrieve newest sample is just going to where's the thing at? There we go. Now sample dot sample. What? Oh, it's an array. Okay. Is that not how you declare these in this?
No.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
What are we doing there?
I'm just trying to make an array. I don't normally use arrays. I use lists normally. But anyway, it's fine. I'll just do this. I will go.
No, you have to make the array is a sample type. Like the type is sample.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Thank you. It's the wrong type. Yes. So cannot implicitly convert UI sample to sensor sample. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and sample dot samples 0 equals new. And then what's the vars for sample?
So sample had that's two things.
Sorry?
Each sample is a data value and a timestamp value.
Yeah, it's a key value pair sort of, but I'm just trying to see what they're called. Here we go. Value and sample date time. Okay, so value is going to equal fuck, what's my random number generator again? I think it can do this. Random? No. Just ask this guy here now. System.random, yes. That's right. Take this on away. Yeah, that's not gonna help nothing. No, this is not the issue. What do you mean you can't fucking... Oh, I know why. Because it's not using the right one. And you shouldn't be here. So, fuck off. Okay, there we go. That should not be that much. I didn't... Where's Unity Engine.random? Whatever, I don't care. Easy peasy. There we go. Oh, yeah. Okay. And the date time is going to equal... So what it is? Fucking type date time? No, it's float. Time dot real time since startup. That's just, these are just for testing. It's not. And real time since startup is just the number of seconds that have happened since the app has been started. That's all. Okay, in the real world. So even if we change the time scale of the game, it'll still, that's why real time will always use the real time, not the in-game time. Okay, and we're going to return this sample. Okay, so actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this here. Call this test sample. And that way there's less confusion. So this is the method we should be using, and this is just the one for testing it. So we're still referencing the right method. It's just this method will need to be refactored. So save sample, and it's going to have to be an IE numerator as well. So
I guess we would have to see what's the near refactor is. So we no longer subscribe, right?
well, we may still use it, but regardless, we don't. I wouldn't suggest it. I would just use the API references. But I'm not concerned with that right now because we're going to do that tomorrow, right? So I'm just going to make this in such a way that it doesn't matter how we do it. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. What? Why not? Why not? Oh, let's see. Oh, you can't use an out. What am I doing? We're not going to do that. We're going to use a promise. There we go. So that's not actually. So sensorant is going to equal a new promise that's going to have that sample in it. Did I not? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to go to peak definition. Yeah, okay. Promise public. This is just a wrapper, so I can use this as return var for asynchronous operations. It's modeled after like a promise from Python. It's the same idea, except one that's just one I made for C#. So it doesn't. It's not. You can use it in other places. It doesn't actually have to be in inside of an asynchronous operation, because technically very few things in Unity actually are asynchronous. They're actually coroutines, but that's besides the point. So, and here's that one, and then we're going to overload it with T value equals val. Okay, there we go. We'll turn on. Okay. That's all good. Now we can go upstream. Now, so it's going to start off with while. Is it while true? Yeah, because it'll destroy itself, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So while true. I'm doing while true because it'll never end up in an infinite loop, because when the game object that this has been mounted to gets destroyed, any coroutines that were instantiated inside of this object, like any of these that were made, will, because you're making them, that's what the start coroutine thing does, they'll also be destroyed, so you can leave it while true, because it's just going to keep doing it. It's fine. Okay, while true, yield, return, wait 4 seconds, and the amount of time we are going to wait is actually right here in our sensor data. Sensor data dot
Sample rate.
Sample rate, yes, thank you. Sample rate. Right? So new. Wait for seconds. Sensor damp. Yeah, there we go. So it's going to go. It's going to wait till that amount of time has passed to guarantee that there is a new sample, right? There's no point in checking beforehand because there won't be one. It'll just be the same sample you get back. And actually, I would probably add a little. No, can't add more time to that or it'll fuck it all up. So you'll miss samples. So, okay. That's that. And then we're going to start coroutine. We're going to make a promise here. It's going to do this, and then we're going to take our promise. Sensor sample dot done, because the retrieve would have brought it back, blah, 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 whatever. Like, for pretend, this line right here, or I'm pointing with my finger, this line right here would actually be in the real thing, like when it gets refactored, that's going to be an asynchronous or a coroutine, right? So there's going to be, it's going to send off, and then we're going to be watching this promise to see when it gets marked as being done, right? Which it's actually just going to get marked as being done anyway. So I'm going to get that out of there. Control X, or doesn't matter. We can do it here. Equals true. There, that's better. No. Oh, this is the one making the promise. Fuck. There we go. Okay. Okay, it's done. True. Blah, 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 blah. Good. Okay, go back up to here. And then we'll do that. Wait for seconds. Then we're going to go retrieve. The fuck? Start coroutine. Refresh sample. Where do you see that? Oh no, I'm in it. No. We want this one. Retrieve new sample. There's actually probably a better way of doing this now that I'm thinking of it, but it doesn't matter. It's mostly for testing. Okay. Retrieve new sample. Start coroutine. Retrieve new sample. Yep. Okay. So. Promise. No. Virtual sensor. Data. New sample. Equals this. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't want new. Get out of here. Get out of here. Nope. That would have fucked a lot of things up. Dot value. There we go. Okay, there's that. So, here's actually what we're going to do here. So, I'm going to go and get rid of this line. We're going to yield return on this line. So by putting yield return in front of start coroutine, what it does is it will stop at this, it'll block at this line, and it will not move forward until this coroutine has completed. So to simulate that we're waiting for the newest sample to come, what we'll do is it'll retrieve sample, right? So we're gonna actually go right here and go, here's where we'll put another while loop. Enter while true. Okay. I feel like we should put some sort of a wait in between because we know none of them are going to be more than a second, so we'll wait 1 second minimum anyway. So new wait 4 seconds. 1.
I need to, I don't,
Sorry?
I need to go. I will probably watch the recording.
Yeah.
The recording's not uploaded yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
it's still recording. Like, I still have OBS running. It's right here.
Okay.
Alright, it's still going. Okay. So So there's this save, retrieve the sample. Actually, does anyone have any questions before I move forward about things like the IE numerator or coroutines or what I'm doing here in terms of asynchronous computing?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so what does I numerator do?
It's an enumerated value, so that's like things like lists or whatever, right? Like so what it allows this method to do is to have stages, right? So next, it's just like move next, right? So the code executes until it reaches a yield return, and then you put a condition. Well, it's sort of a condition. This is actually an enumerable value, right? So here, but for the sake of this, it's a condition. And so what it's going to do is wait 1 second. So when this becomes true, right, it'll move forward. So once it's waited a second, then it'll execute the next line of code. And so what happens is when this method right here actually becomes an object. So when you do start coroutine, it builds an IE numerator object, right, from this method, right? And then it stores it in memory somewheres, and then at the end of each frame, it checks to see if this yield return is true yet, right? Like if that's been satiated or not.
Okay.
Right?
Could you like do a walkthrough? So from the walkthrough in the order of what happens from the moment this window is instantiated. Would that be possible? Like, do you understand what I'm asking?
Yes, I can, but can I like would it, like I feel like it'd make more sense to do that after I've completed writing the code. Right? I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I mean, I no, I can walk through it now. It's just like things may change, or it may, and I'm all like, just give me 1 sec. So, I just want to put the check in through here, right? Like it's not like I'm putting stuff in here because I know what I'm going to have to put afterwards. So some of it's not going to make much sense if I do a walkthrough right now. But if I finish writing the code that I'm about to write and then do a walkthrough,
But when I say walkthrough, not as in like with every code line. So it will be like, okay, when this instantiates, this method runs, and this method is supposed to call this method and this method, which has some kind of condition, like, and if that makes sense.
it does make sense. I did go through it earlier, but that's fine. I will right now. So what happens is when it comes, like the fact that it's a mono behavior means it has a bunch of messages it receives anyway. The only one of those messages that I'm using currently is awake, right? So when it comes into existence, awake is always going to be called, right? That's why it has 0 references, but it will be called. The Unity takes care of that for us. And so the only thing this is doing when it comes online is it's making a random number generator. I do it out here because if I do it in here, we'll just get the same number every time because this random number generator actually does the same thing every time. So, you need to start it, store it somewheres, and then keep calling it, or you'll just get the same number. You won't get the next random int.
Yeah.
Right? But the parent to it has to call initialize. And once initialize has been called, then it starts going through all these things, right? So
the parent to this window
yeah,
has to call initialize, right?
that's right.
Okay, so once it calls initialize, he starts going through the initialize method, right?
Yep.
And that's all.
That's it. And then the initialize method is going to start this coroutine. I just haven't put it in yet because coroutine's not done.
Yes. So now I'm following. So it's going to call refresh sample, right?
Yes.
Okay, and what refresh sample does, it waits for a new sample, basically.
Yep. So what it's going to do is it's going to start this coroutine, right? Wait for it to finish. when it's finished, it'll use the sample that's in this promise, right? Because we sent it as a promise that we would have it. Basically, we're simulating a return var, and then
Okay. So in the first line, you're creating the promise variable.
yeah,
In the second line, you're using it to call the method that actually takes in the promise variable.
yes,
Okay, so in that method, okay, it makes sense. Now I understand now.
okay,
Because yeah. So that promise variable it's waiting to become done.
that's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, so I do have a little misleading right now. I put a yield return, which is going to wait for this to finish as though it thinks
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it's done.
yeah.
But we don't actually need to do that. What we
Could
actually
you
should.
could you change the name of the promise variable? Because I think that's what got me confused. Because I saw new sample, so I thought we were actually dealing with a sample, like an actual sample.
Well, the virtual sensor, the only part of it that's relevant that's coming in is the sample, but that's fine. Yeah, newest.
Sample available. Oh,
Well, it's actually it's the sensor, right?
yeah.
The whole
US
sensor
sensor.
object's coming down,
Yeah,
but
yeah. US and
newest sample, does that work or
like
samples?
okay, no, it wasn't the sample of the sensor. It's just because um it's the terminology. Like if you had called it newest sample available, then that available changes the context of the name. Anyway, it's not a big deal.
No. It's. I mean, if it's
It's
something that makes it more clear, then yes, I'll do
yeah.
it.
It's like if you put available, then people know that okay, this isn't necessarily the um. I guess maybe it is because you created the
That's fine. I'll put it there.
yeah.
Like I assume you like if it's clear to you, it's going to be clear to other people. And if you've learned that from some standard somewheres, then I certainly want to follow it because it's you might as well
Wait,
follow
okay.
standards.
So last question. You wrote this promise class, right?
Yes.
And I see the class.
Yeah. It's right here.
Okay. So the promise takes in a type, um, and it has a method to return the value, where value is the type.
Yeah. These are just constructors.
Hmm.
Right? So I can either construct it, then assign its value, or I can construct it with the value and it'll assign it itself. Assigning it to done has to be done from the outside, right? Because we do that, we pass it along, send it. It could go through 5 other methods. We don't know where it goes, right?
Okay. So if you created, so in this scenario where we're creating a promise based off the virtual sensor data,
Yeah.
the value field would be um virtual sensor object, right?
Well, we called it data in this, but yes.
Okay. So if I wanted to say in the virtual sensor data, I wanted to access virtual objects and sensor data is a class, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say in the class I wanted to access one of the one of the
You
variables in that
so you would
class.
do value dot.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay. Yes. That's why I wanted to be sure. So you do value dot this.
yes. I'm actually
Okay.
going to unwrap it, but still, if you wanted to leave it in the wrapper, yes, you would do value dot whatever.
Okay. So I see where you do value.
Yeah.
So this is what this is why I was talking about available, because if you think about it, the object itself is in the value. Right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think
I
I
don't know
do.
how.
The actual data we want is the sample, which is wrapped inside of a virtual sensor data object, right? So we don't
No,
actually
no,
care
no.
about that. But what?
Yeah. So like in the promise. Okay. I don't know how to.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I think I'm about to show you why I want the entire sensor, not just the data, because I'm
No,
going
no,
to.
no, 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 no. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like, I have nothing. Your process is impeccable. It's not even the process. It's just why I wanted to say. I wanted to explain why I was insistent on calling it newest sample available instead of newest sample.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you could. So there's like
It's
like
fine.
the Holy Trinity, right? There's the now, the future, and the past, right? And
Yeah,
often when you say newest, you mean the one from the past. But
yeah.
what I actually mean right now is the one from the present, right? So I can see why that would be confusing. I run into it all the time in construction, and I'll use proposed instead of newest. So actually, I can say that. I can say proposed, but
No, 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 no. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
okay. I am going to end up calling it proposed here in a sec because I'm actually going to run a check here. So we're going to run a check to make sure that we didn't get the same sample we got last time, right? Because if we did, then it's not the newest sample, and we can ignore it and just move on and ask for a newer
This
one.
wouldn't be, this wouldn't be necessary for the actual one, though. This check.
So, sorry.
I don't think this check would be necessary in the actual process.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be
Like
it's going to be necessary in the process because we can't guarantee that our time is going to be synchronized with the server. So we could end up.
yeah, but that's under the assumption that in the real world, a sample can have the same values at 1 second and a second after.
That's
And
right.
it wouldn't count as the same sample. It would still be two different samples.
Yep, and that's what this is going to check. That like watch, like look.
Yes, but I'm saying it's fine to display both of them, even though it's the same value, because it's
That's
two different.
I'm not checking the value. That's not what I'm going to check. I
Yeah,
am
check.
checking. I'm checking the value, but I'm not going to check the value of the sample. I'm going to check the value of the sample time to make sure the time isn't the same time.
Okay.
Right? That's what I'm checking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the time has to be different. Yeah.
Return proposed sample dot samples 0 dot sample date time subtract sensor data dot samples 0 dot sample date time okay is greater than is same sample no is less than 0.01 f. So what I've done here is I've said we're going to take the time of the one we just got, we're going to subtract the time from the one that was there before, and if the difference is less than that, then they're the same time because none of our sample rates go anywhere near this close.
Yeah.
And it's just to get away from the floating point number problem because you can't directly compare floats. Well, you can, but you won't. You'll get inconsistent results. However, we do need to make it so that it's the absolute value, not just the straight up, because it could be below 1, right? Depending on what order they get subtracted in. But anyway, I'm just going to go mathf.abs. There. So where am I? The absolute value of this subtract this should be less than this. If it is, or shouldn't be. If it is, we'll return true because the sample is the same sample, right? So, okay, I'll actually rename this to what we're actually checking is same sample time. Okay, so we're gonna go if is same sample time retrieve sample done. Where am I at here? I'm in the wrong one, aren't I? Yeah, refresh rates up here. So refresh sample, retrieve newest sample, blah, 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 blah. Equals retrieve sample, right? Which would actually be an asynchronous computation. When that's finished, so actually, here's what we'll do. So we're going to put this at the end. Okay. And we're going to actually, because we know it's going to be asynchronous, so why not do that? Put this here, and then we're actually going to put numerator, and since it's not actually going to have to do anything, we're just going to say yield return null, which just makes it wait one frame. Who's messaging me? Okay. Yeah, so it's going to make our new sample. We're not going to return it. What we're going to do is say sensor sample dot value equals this. And then we're going to say sensor sample dot done equals true. All right. What the fuck? Oh yeah, it's a retrieve test sample. That's right. Okay. So, okay. Value, didn't make it new. Good. Okay. This one already has the promise. Sensor sample. Okay. So we're going to go retrieve test sample, sensor sample. And we can yield return on that, but there's no point. What we're actually going to do is this. Yield return new wait until, this is a very useful coroutine to use, wait until, and then it wants a lambda, like I just use anonymous functions, right? I don't know if you're familiar with anonymous functions or lambdas, but this is how you declare them. So basically I'm saying this is an unnamed function, and then this just means, and this is it. And it's expecting some sort of a lambda. So for this one, we're just going to write just an equality, and it's going to be sensor sample dot done. Sensor sample dot done. Boom. So this is what we're telling it to do is to yield until the done returns true. That's all I'm saying. So we're just going to wait. We sent this out. Once it's going to, in the real world or in the real version, this would be going out and doing whatever and running into web API, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take some time, right? And so it's going to wait until whatever method tells us that it's retrieved what it was looking for and it's done. And then we're going to go into and then we'll continue with the code. And so we're going to check to see if it's the same sample. And if it is, so we're going to go sensor sample dot value, right? Because this method is going to take a virtual sensor object there, right? And then just check it, see if it's the same sample time, right? So if it is the same sample time, we don't want to update anything. There's no point in running those computations. So what we're going to say is continue, which means that it doesn't execute any more code after that point. It starts back from the top. It'll wait another second, retrieve a new sample, wait for that one to be done, check that one. Is that one the same time? Yeah? Okay, let's try it again until the answer comes back as being no, and then it'll move on to this part of the code, which that actually won't be this part of the code. The next part of the code will be that we assign it to the newest sensor data. So actually, We're going to rename this. So to current sensor data, right? Because we're updating it, so it's always the most current sensor data that we've retrieved. I don't need to copy that. It's here. So current sensor data. So this is assuming that it's not the same one that was there before. We're going to go to current sensor data equals sensor sample dot value. And then it'll start all over again. So it's got its newest one, and then it's going to go back, and then it'll wait a second, try again. And it's just going to keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. So what we've done here is created an event, like a loop, not an event, but we've created a loop that's going to go out and wait a second and check, go grab a new sample. If it's the newest sample, or if it's not the same sample it had before, then it's going to assign it. That's all this thing does. We should not need to refactor this except for this one method right here. We'll have to refactor this method. So I'm actually going to put it there. I'm going to say refactor this. Okay. We did leave something out though. We need to start this coroutine. So start. Otherwise, it's just going to return a null value. It's not going to do anything. So start coroutine. Boom. Okay. Okay. So that's the only line we should have to change, and we should just make it go to whatever the actual thing is when we refactor the comms. Okay. And that's it. That's it. So now we just got to start this up. Oh, wait. It retrieves the sensor. That's right. So once it retrieves this sensor sample, right, we need to reset that bar. So we need to go in here. We'll have to go to sensor sample. It's going to actually equal a new one that's going to be empty with nothing in it. And then it'll get assigned down here. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, it's just going to keep coming back and saying it's done, right? Because we're not actually making a new object. So, done. There. Boom. Okay. And the weight really should be the sample rate, right? There's no reason to weight less than the sample rate. So we're actually going to use that. So it's going to be sensor sample, current sensor data dot sample rate. Right. Otherwise, we're just running more checks for no reason. Sample rate. I think it should be a percentage of the sample rate times 0.8, 1/8, 80% of the time that's in there, because we do want it a little less, just to make sure there's no overlaps. Okay, to make sure we don't miss one. Because if it's off, one way by a millisecond or a friggin' nanosecond, we'll miss the sample on us. Okay. That's that. And we just got to start it. We did. There it is. So refresh sample rate. That's not gonna do anything. This will just stay there for forever. That's fine. That's okay. We can deal with that. Yeah, that's right. This does not need to be a loop. This is not a loop. In fact, it doesn't even need to be a coroutine.
So it calls that method once,
Yeah.
right? And then
And then this while true makes it keep going for forever. Right? Until it's destroyed. When the game object is destroyed, it destroys all the coroutines, so we don't need to worry about that, right? That's like one of the benefits of using this like state machine tree style for the GUI. There's tons of stuff we just don't need to worry about because once it's destroyed, everything will stop anyway. So all we ever have to worry about is starting it. What?
yeah. So far I understand the idea behind everything. The only thing is how are we getting this information from the back end? Is
Uh,
there a method that would
no, there
request
isn't.
every time, or we haven't set that up yet?
Yeah, we haven't set it up yet, but
Okay,
I
okay,
already
that's fine.
refactored on the other side. So, like, I know, like, so the whole idea of the subscribing to on message received was
Yeah.
because it was because we had the ability to have data pushed to us. We no longer have that ability, so this on message received will never get executed because we'll never receive a message, right?
Okay, so what are we going to receive?
We
Nothing.
can still do it. So watch. I'll show you what like. Actually, no. Just we'll address that afterwards, like because that's like a whole rabbit hole to go down, and we didn't even finish this yet, right? Like that's a whole tangent off into another thing. But as soon as I'm done with this, I'll go and I can show you what the state of that is right now. Although it's going to be refactored tomorrow, so like it's not. But I can show you all the same. Like I don't mind, but I mean we're just not addressing it. We're just not doing that right now, right? And this has been designed in such a way that it doesn't matter, right? All we're ever going to do is change this one line once we do have the actual thing that we're going to call, right?
Hmm.
But if there is anything that's subscribed to the on message receive, I did loop it back to itself so that when the API does get its response. Oh, Livy took off. Okay. So when the API does get its response, it does trigger the on message received. But like that's hacky, and I just did it for the sake of what I was doing at that time. So what's actually going to happen is we'll just be doing web APIs, right? We'll just request it, and we don't have what we do, but like that it's just not worked out yet. So it's a bit silly to try to get into that right now, and it's a tangent, right? Like I'll be lost into that instead. So I think it'd be best just to move forward with this component for now, right? And then we can look at that stuff after. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, this is done. This is done. It just needs to be initialized with visual sensor data so that it knows how to get blah, 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 whatever. So I imagine that when we actually retrieve the sample, we'll have to give it the sensor name or something, right? But we have that data. We're good. We can do that, right? Retrieve sample. In fact, we can, see, we can get it right from this, right? So it's fine. Okay. Sensor sample. And we will put the most up to the current one in there. Boom. So it has its name when it goes. So we can just grab the name right out of it. There. Okay. So now that that's all done, and so we need to assign these. I need to put an update loop so we can run the test. So private update. Okay. If test equals false, initialize. Initialize with this. Where's that? over here. No, that's right. What?
What?
Why won't that work? Equals. There we go. Okay. It's just a way of declaring a variable. That's all. Okay. So it's going to be initialized with our test sensor. Okay, so that'll allow us to do a quick unit test, and then we can do the end-to-end test for the whole thing, right from the start to right here, just make sure it's all working. Okay, save that. Go here, assign our vars. Okay. Sample time, sample time, sensor sample field. Oh, for God's sakes. Just never. Okay, good. Save, it's saved already. Right, live data, blah, blah, initialize. Oh, one more thing. We have to show the window. On initialization, we're gonna go base.show. Because it's using the iWindow interface, I just didn't put it in there by accident. It's going to go base.show. Boom. Okay. Well, I mean, if I'm forgetting something, Unity will let me know. Okay. So, back. And I'm just going to do it right quick here. Sensor window, sensor live view. So press play. Drop it into our container. Man, that's pretty small, eh? You might want to make it a little bigger.
When we do replace it, I was hoping we could make it full screen.
You haven't seen the rest of this, have you?
Of live data? What do you mean?
Well, because there's a bunch of other windows that'll be open at the same time. We can change it afterwards. I'm not like I'm testing for the like
For the functionality.
For the functionality of it, yes, yeah. That's
yeah.
Okay. So we just had a crazy error there. Just one sec. Null reference, not set to an object. Back end window title bar, blah, 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 set active window. Yeah, why didn't it find it? Private, parent window. Window transform, window offset. Window title bar, blah, blah, blah. The fuck did I just do to that? Get out of here. I view. Edit script. It's an I window. Yes. Title bar. Yes. Close button. Yeah. What did it want? What was it saying? It fucked up. On drag. Set. Oh, set active window. No, that was what through the error. Anyway, let's try it again. And I'm actually going to make this bigger right now. Okay, sensor live view. We'll just make it 1.5 times bigger. Okay. But like, what am I missing? It doesn't have any dependencies. It just gets initialized when I hit test. Okay, well, let's try it again. Yeah. What's not sent to an object? 42. Window rectangle transform. It has a fucking rectangle transform, doesn't it? Yeah, right here, rectangle transform. Find all references. Oh, sorry, over here. Get component children. This is in the I window. Yes, I window. Get, yeah, and then it gives it. On awake. That's right. Get component and children. Window title bar. Rectangle transform. Uh-huh. Yes. Sensor live sample view. Implements I window. I'm not missing anything here. Control S. Control build. Let's, for whatever reason, maybe it's not adding it. Oh, sensor live view. Let's, maybe I didn't mount it. Sensor live sample view. Yeah. Clear. There's no failed, nothing skipped. On awake, find component in children of type title bar. Window title bar, yeah. Call that fucking command. Parent window, give it the parent window, yeah, and then drag and drop, blah, blah, blah. Is there a fucking... No? Oh, that's fucking weird. And why is that? Here we go. Window background. Title bar. That shouldn't be doing that. Save. Anyway, let's see if anything else is doing it. Yeah, See, now test the window. There it is. Oh, I know what's going on with that weird scaling thing. Anyway, okay, there's that. So that's working. It's this exact same thing. Sensor live view. Why is it shown? That shouldn't be like... I must be overwriting something. I must be hiding something. Live sample size view. Yeah, no, can I exit it? Yeah, see, it's not doing nothing. It didn't find shit. There's something wrong. Live sensor view. There it is. Find in... Yeah, right here. What else could it be looking for? The close button is right here. Edit script. Close button is... It does nothing. That's okay. Oh, here, bring this over. Go to definition, yeah. On awake, rectangle transform equals get component rectangle transform, yeah. Try get component blah blah blah. Parent rectangle transform. Hide all graphics. So it's not getting to hide all graphics, which, oh, I know what I did. Okay, I got it. Okay. Virtual. I was hiding something, so I just didn't realize. So can I not make that virtual? Oh, yeah, whatever. Protected. There we go. So what was happening was this awake method was overriding the other awake method, or hiding it actually, not overriding it. Protected, override, and then after it does that, we're going to go base dot awake. There we go. Okay, now shut this down and restart it. Okay. Sensor live view. There we go. Nope, that's not right. Get it out of there. Sensor live view. There we go. Okay, test. Null reference. Reference dot set to a reference of an instance of an object. Okay. Which one isn't? Probably the proposed. Comes back now. We wait. Wait until I'm done. Value equals sample. Sample. New samples. Oh, for fuck's sake. No, that's correct. Sample time is this. I know what's wrong. This one doesn't have a sample time. It doesn't have a sample at all. In fact, see, it doesn't have a sample. So what we're gonna do is actually we'll just put a no. It should always have a sample, so it's fine. So we're gonna go on awake. So for the initialize the test with the test sensor, what we're actually going to do here is go test sensor dot samples equals Sensor sample array with one value for the time being.
New
Sensor sample array.
sensor something.
Oh, you didn't you use new to initialize a fucking array? Oh, you do too. Okay. New sensor sample array. Good. So then this 0 equals new name. What? Name? Sample doesn't have a fucking name.
Its value and
Yeah.
sample rate.
Value and sample rate, yeah. Sample date time. Value and sample date time. Okay, so value is going to equal, I don't know, who cares, 9.81 F and sample date time is going to equal time dot real time since startup. And not that either. There you go. But this though. There we go. Now we should be good. Okay. Shut you down. Press play. Boop. Okay. Sensor live view. Put it in the window container. Test it. Boom. Here we go. Sample rate is 0, so that's actually going to be a problem. We're going to set the sample rate as well.
Yeah, you need to initialize it. So.
Yeah, so in fact we didn't in this one either. This one here that we're going to do. Sample rate. Yeah. We're going to need another one here. It's going to be sample rate equals 3. Nope, 3. Okay. Well, actually, we can just use the fucking current dot sample rate. Oh, something. Sample rate. And we'll go up here. And we'll go sample rate 3. There we go. Now it should work. Because 80% of 0 is 0. Okay. Live sensor view. Test. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. So something's not working because that should have updated by now. And do we have any errors? No. So I'd say it's something to do with the coroutine. Okay. Initialize, blah, 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 begin sample rate. Newest sample available. Current sensor data. Start coroutine. While true, yield return, seconds, sample rate, times 0.8f, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to add some debugs. Debug.log. Loop started. Wait time reached. Coroutine begun. Sample returned.
Oh, what were you planning on finishing this evening and just like?
So I'm not the best with time management. So I planned on finishing when I was done.
Yeah, but like would
Like where? When I was done doing all the GUI. All I was going to do was all of the GUI for the first feature, and it's all on tape, and then this entire process can be repeated for every single feature. Because it's the exact same thing will work. What?
Yeah. What's the first feature that's your
The sensor, just the live and historic view of the sensor. So I was going to do this live view, and then next I was going to do the graph view, and then that was that.
you were going to make the graph?
Yeah. I wasn't joking when I said I could write it down on paper. It'll take me like no time to do that graph. We'll see what time it is when I get there. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But I mean, you know, it's only 7:30 now, so.
No. See, well, if it's the graph view, um, I'm pretty sure that's something you could just write like on your own. Like we wouldn't need to know. I mean,
No, you're right.
we
Yeah, no, you're right. That's an asset that would just be able to be used. But
yeah.
I don't know. I felt like making that asset in the process of making it would be useful. But I mean, not really. As long as the rest of this. Sorry.
No. It would be useful. I'm just thinking of time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So
it's been hours of this video now, and I mean, I'm not sure. I just like 3 hours 20 minutes, and it's just sort of me and you. I just I find it hard to believe that if we couldn't find the time to do it right now, while I was doing it, that anyone's going to find the time to watch the video after that.
no. Yes. So for the graph, um, what I'm trying to say is it possible to not do the graph tonight, and we
Yes,
can do another one of these
yes, that is
within the week?
that's
Within the
reasonable.
week, where we do the graph.
That's completely reasonable. Yeah. In fact, this 3 hour video, I mean,
Yeah, because I do agree with you. Like, I do find it hard to believe anyone is going to watch the 3 hour video.
yeah. Well, if they had the time, they'd be here now at the
Uh,
scheduled
I
time,
will.
wouldn't they?
I will. Well, I guess I don't know how OBS does it, but you'll be. I don't. I will watch bits and pieces of the video, depending on the information I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I doubt it will be like a whole sit through.
no, yeah, but it will still be good to have up there for reference, all the same. So
Yeah. And the main thing I needed to know was um was the framework.
yeah,
Which
which has
is
been highlighted pretty well, I think, through the
yeah,
process of doing this.
you've repeated the process like quite a number of times. So um I think that's fairly certain. Really, all that's left is designing individual assets. Um,
That's correct.
so an asset for the graph. We already have the list view, which I actually plan on. Well, if we're left to me, I'll probably get into your project and turn your sensor list prefab. Yeah,
Sensorless prefab.
yeah, the one that's there. I think that's what you called it.
Yeah, it's in there, and it can be repurposed in the video
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want.
yeah. I was planning on generalizing it so that we could just use it for any list ever that we were ever doing. And
Yeah, it can be copied out. Now, I showed how to just hard code each version of it, but I actually have a generic version of this in another project that I could bring in that all you ever have to do is set your generic type T to whatever the type
yeah,
of data is. Do you know what I mean?
no, yeah. So that seems
Well, I can grab it and bring it in, but I mean, I feel like if you want to make a generalized version, that's great, and you can do
It
that.
wouldn't it, when I say generalize, it's just going to be duplicating it and changing it depending on what
Okay,
is.
yeah. No, so we're on the same page because I feel like for the sake of this project, how like the scope of it, I think it's best just to copy it and change it as you need rather than actually make a generic version of it because I think
Yeah.
that's just overcomplicating it. Like I mean, if this project was going to last years, yeah, sure, let's make a generic version of it. But other than that, I just say copy it and reuse it the same way I did earlier in the video here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our debug stuff in there. So what's this? What is this?
That's your promise.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. I was just making sure it wasn't like destroying it before we retrieved it. But we right here we have the value goes sent, and then we destroy the thing it came from. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna go restarting. Starting. Put that right here. Control X. Okay, so in each one of these, though, I'm going to say plus sensor sample to string.
That while loop is infinite though. Like it never stops until you close the window, right?
That's right.
Yeah, because it's all true.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it has this wait for seconds sample rate here,
Yeah, yeah.
so it'll be
And
fine.
it destroys the objects, so it's fine.
Yeah, like that X button destroys the object, so it can't possibly go for forever.
Yeah, yeah, which is what we want.
Sample date time. Oh, I see what's going on here. Fuck. No, I put it up here. It's right here. Sample rate equals 3. We're fine. Okay. So, I will just start here and see what happens. Okay. Oh shit. Oh, I don't need that anyway. Okay. We'll stop this. Now. Yeah. I see. So we made changes, and it didn't reload them. Let's see if it does now. Here we go. I'd say that's what happened. Okay, let's play. What am I missing here? Oh, for God's sakes, promise? We're only replacing the data object. We didn't reassign all the values to the text. So, fuck's sakes. Okay, so initialize. We'll actually have a second step to this. And it's going to be private, assign fields, private void, assign fields.
I thought you put that in assign. Didn't you have an assigned header or something?
Yeah, the assign. It's not in here, but it's up here. Assign. It's a header. It's right here. That's where's it at? What? It's not. Huh. There should be a thing that says assign right here. Huh. Because that's what I put this header in right here. Weird. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Huh. Anyway, does it come up now? No. Whatever. It's something to do with it being extended. That's fine. Okay, so back to this. We need to assign those fields. So here they are right here. Yeah. Okay, assign fields. So I can actually get rid of all this. Okay, and when this has completed, new sensor equals this. We don't actually need to do that. What we do is assign fields with the value. There we go. I think we found it. We found our culprit. Okay. Sensor live view. Initialize. Huh?
Are you updating the text?
Yeah, it's that same method. It's calling the same method from assign fields.
Oh.
Well, it says done and good. Done and good. Where's that? Done and good. There should be 4 samples done by now.
Alright, go back to the code, I guess.
Yeah, but there should be more than 4 now.
Yeah, if you scroll up, it's more than 4. Yeah.
Look, restarting. And it's not getting any new ones. There's something right. Oh, it's probably just a random thing not working, but that's fine. It did do some of them, 4 of them. So it's So anyway, okay, we're gonna stop this again. Go take a look at this code again and just walk through it. I guess would be the best way of doing this. So it becomes awake. It does its other stuff for being awake. Okay. Oh wait, here's the other thing. Let's check to make sure we're not hiding something. Peak definition, awake, update. Here we go. Protected, virtual. Whoa, what just happened there? Go to peak definition. Although these shouldn't matter, but anyway. Okay, and then we'll go to protected, override, then base.update. I don't think that's our issue, but this should have been happening anyway. It might be our issue though, because we're dealing with the coroutine, but anyway. It's going through here. It's going through. We're getting the things. It's saying waiting. We're getting our waiting. We're getting our, oh, for fuck's sakes, here it is. Look. I know what's going on. So this right here, we're actually going to put right here again, because it's different. It's got waiting in it. That's not right. It should actually be, text is going to be sample.text. So it's going to be sensor data dot sample 0 dot sample or value dot toString 0.000. Yeah. Oh, fuck. What just happened here? Data plotter, go away. Here we go. Ah, fucking Jesus.
You weren't doing this before?
No. It was just going to keep typing waiting. That's so
Right.
It could have been updating, but sample time is going to be samples dot sample date time. Okay, there's that. Force mesh update, force mesh update. Yeah. And then each time it makes a new sample, it goes to retrieve your sample. Next double between 10 and 0.1. Oh, fuck off. That's all. What's next double return? Listen, what does next double return without your stupid logic attached? Between 0 and 1. Okay, thanks. Stop trying to guess what I want. So it's going to be between 0 and 1. That's fine. And we're just going to multiply it by 10. So the highest it can be, and then subtract 0.1f from that. There. Anyway, just making sure that stays good. And then the time is going to be time.realtime since startup. Yes. So the time should change each time. And the absolute value of this minus this must be less than that. That's fine. Okay. Cool. So now it should work. For fuck's sakes, now it should work. After this, I'll string it all together and we'll do an end-to-end test, not including the graph.
Yeah. I was going to say after this one, we should probably
finish it up, wrap it up. Yeah, I'm gonna test. Aha! There we go. The sample rate. Oh no, that's the sample time. There it is. We're good. It's working. Right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and then just close it. It's done. It's no more loop. Perfect. Okay. So now we're gonna go back to the researcher scene. Save. Yes, save. Here's our sensor list. Actually that doesn't. That's all good. Sensor list is gonna blah 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 all the way down to the sensor window. Okay, and then we're gonna go sensor window, edit this script. Because the sensor window is going to instantiate multiple game objects, but for this, right now, it's just going to instantiate the, we'll put it right up at the top. Serialized field. No. Serialized field. Serialized field. A game object. Sensor live view. Sensor live view prefab, and then it's going to be game object go equals, and then we're going to go dot get component. What do I call that? Live sensor view, sensor live sample view controller. I didn't name it a controller. Oh no. We're going to rename that right now. Yep. That worked, right? Yeah, okay. Controllers. Once we get the controller, we're going to initialize it using the sensor that we have selected, which is right here. Boop-a-doop. Okay. So we're gonna change this actually right here. So assign fields does that. Initialize shouldn't do that. It should assign fields. That was wrong. These should actually be right in here. So we're gonna go Control X. That it really doesn't matter, but I'm gonna put them here in awake all the same. Or not awake, but start. I'm just not gonna do that. There's no point in putting waiting there. You can put it. We're just. It's never. It's not. You're not gonna see it. It's stupid. It's not. It's just confusing things. So we're just gonna actually go assign fields. Initialize assign fields with the sensor data. Alright. Save. Now I'm just gonna undo that. I'll redo it. I'm undoing it simply to make sure I didn't delete anything I shouldn't have, and I did not.
So you're doing the end-to-end testing.
Sorry?
You're doing the end-to-end testing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Yeah. So I'm patching it all in together now. Okay, there's that. Whoa. Oh, save. Okay, no errors, no nothing. This should just work. Okay, boom, and I just need to assign the. No.
On button click.
Yeah. No, that's already assigned. I need to assign sensor window controller. Oh, right here. Boom. There. And I think I've already done the buttons. Right? Yeah. Save. Save. Login scene. Play. Okay. Canvas. No, wrong scene.
Oh, you have to.
I have to click the test because it's not actually received.
Yeah.
Test. Boom. Here's our sensor list. Sensor 0. Show live view. Ah, what happened? Null reference. What's not sent to an 71? Oh, because it's empty. That's fine. That's not actually an error in the program. What it is that over here, we didn't actually make this array for that fake sample that's going to happen. So to fix that, I'm just going to go here, clear this, go here, it's the sensor list test, edit script, right here, so add, right, so now I'm going to have to go add new, so then it's going to be sample rate equals 3, I always forget I can't do that. Okay. Sample rate equals 3. Samples equals new.
New array.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. New
Sensor sample.
array 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And then the newest one is going to be a new sensor sample. And it's going to be value equals, I don't care, 2 point this F. And sample time, date time is going to equal time dot.
Real time.
Yeah, real time since startup. Thank you. Nope, still can't do that. Okay, there. Now it's going to have its stample and all that stuff, so it should have everything it needs to get things moving. Okay. Well. And it didn't reload. Save. There we go. No, just right here. Just. Haha! There we go. And it's working. And we can have multiple of these running at the same time. Doesn't matter. We can have as many of them as we want. And we can exit those ones and keep these ones. They'll keep working. Right? So we can watch a bunch of samples all at the same time if we want to. Right? I mean, if we can find the room on our screen for it, but right? Perfect. It works. Front to back. That's all working. So what would be next is to actually have it go and communicate with the comms and actually be retrieving data, which I believe, Promise, is what you were working on the commands, right? From the FEMS? So yeah, so you would know the command to send to actually retrieve the newest sample and all that stuff, right? Like you did. Yeah, awesome. Perfect. Okay. So
we'll have to see with the refactor tomorrow. Like, I guess it's everything will become clear.
Yeah, it will become clearer tomorrow. The refactor tomorrow to do with the comms is actually going to make things way simpler. The way I had it set up before with the push to make it so you could push, it was more versatile. You could do more things, but it was a bit more complicated than it needed to be. And with the refactor, where we're just doing web requests and the actual value will be returned to us, that's actually going to be a lot easier and a lot better on the system. Like a lot easier to use, a lot more understandable because before we had to keep track of requests. So if we sent out multiple requests, we needed to keep track of whose request that was. Whereas now we won't have to because it's going to be a return var. So as long as it's within the frame. Right, as long as it's within that the state machine or whatever, like the chain that we just built, that tree, it knows because it's not going to return it to anywhere else, right? It's only going to return it to the place that called the function. So we know it's actually less complicated. So that'll be nice. But
last, I guess, final thing is So we're done for this, but just let me know when you want to do the graph one. Because I don't know if we wait on Louis, I don't know if he's going to get it done. So.
Yeah, he seems pretty busy or preoccupied with something. He's not disappearing, right? He's coming back and telling us. So it's like it's not. It's not like he's just fucking off and being like "fuck you guys," right? So
Would it be? I'm guessing you're leaning towards the only thing with I'm guessing you're leaning towards a histogram instead of a graph, right? Because that would be easier to achieve. Yeah.
So I am doing a histogram. However, it can be displayed as a graph, and when we get to it, you'll see why. And the reason it's going to be sort of like in terms of the data, like what's actually happening there, it's going to be a histogram, is so that we can easily set interval, right? So we can get the integral across an area, right? So I'll say from this sample to this sample, right? And set that, and it'll give me the total, right? That's why it's going to be an histogram. However, at the top of each of the histogram columns, there's going to be a transform there, and that transform, the location of it is going to be fed into a line renderer, so it actually will look like a graph. It'll be a line across it, but in the part that you can't see, but you can see it in the editor, right? The part the user won't see is that, in fact, what you're actually viewing is a histogram that's invisible, that just the top of the histogram, the location is being used to render a line across the screen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I actually do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That was why I had yeah. I understand what you're saying. I knew it was always going to be a line renderer.
Yeah.
Um
Otherwise, you'd be
yeah.
getting into on GUI, and the math on that is going to be
No,
nuts.
yeah, we aren't trying to do any maths, we're just trying to find the points, draw the line through the points.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, in my opinion, being a software developer is very much like being a magician, right? Like, what it looks like and what it's actually doing are two different things, right? It's all an illusion, right? We're really making illusions, right? It's the same as a magician.
So you push your code to this Empire code, you're going to push it to main, right?
Oh, we didn't do version control. Yes, I will. I'll save that. I didn't push it to anything yet, but I'll push it to the. Well, do you want me to push it to main, or do you just want me to push it to the back end experiment? No, it's not an experiment anymore. This is how we're moving
Yeah,
forward. So yes, I'll
yeah.
push it right to main.
So that we can all update from main.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a ton of these weird conflicts, but just
Oh.
don't worry about them.
All right,
Just accept
all right.
mine.
Then, so you have the entire project right now, right?
Yeah.
Could you just delete that git and create a new one with this project?
Well, you can just when you pull, just say to get rid of your changes. If you don't have any changes, then there won't be an issue,
All right.
right? Just if you have any changes in your project, discard them. Don't
No, no. Well, yeah, because I mean, if you're pushing to main, then no one has any changes because we're pulling from main.
Yeah. Well, how about we'll just do it right now, and we'll see if anything happens. If I don't get any conflicts, you won't either. So we'll just see. Do it right now. I should probably close this before I do that because it's going to
Yeah,
change some
you
things.
should.
So close. Where am I GitLab, GitHub, desktop. Okay. Complete system, GUI app, open repository. On Justin, I'll push did live sensor view. Commit to Justin. Push to origin. Go to main. Merge into current branch. From Justin. Create. Push to origin. Yep, there was no conflicts, so it's fine. You shouldn't have to worry about it. If you guys just update from main, you should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna stop that video. Stop.